Hello, guys, and welcome again to this edition of Learning with Rich. Okay, so let us continue our discussion for the preparation in Revit Architecture Certified Professional Examination. Still, this is under collaboration modules, and the topic that we're going to discuss now is about worksets. Worksets can be found on the Collaborate tab, and then you can see here worksets. So as you can see, the worksets is currently disabled because in the newer versions of Revit architecture, okay, an additional button is added here, which is collaborate. So aside from working on your project within the network, you can actually work also within the cloud. Okay, so like for example, your company is on the subscription of Beam 360 team and collaboration for Revit, then you can use this one and then you can save your central file to the cloud. So from there, you can use that central file to create some local file and then synchronize your local file to the cloud. Okay, if you want to update your central model. Okay, so before in lower version of Revit, you do not have this option here. You only have worksets option. Okay, so just in case you are using a lower version. So yeah. So for us to be able to select the work sets here, so you need to select first what type of collaboration you are going to do. Is it within your network or is it within the cloud? So in this exercise, so I just select within the network. So I select that one and then I select here OK. Okay. All right. Let us just wait. So right after that, you will now notice here that the work sets is now enabled. So I'm going to select the work sets here. And then you will now see here that I have two default work sets. Shared levels and grids. The other one is work set, which is owned by me. Okay. So you better take note of this one. This is actually the name of your Autodesk account. So if you have an Autodesk account and then you logged in, okay, automatically this name here will becomes the name of your machine. It will also modify your name here, like this one. Okay, so usually the name of your Revit is the name of your computer. Okay, but if you log in using your Autodesk account, the Autodesk account's name will be placed here. So this is very important. Okay, you will see that later on. Now, to continue, you can actually create some work sets here. By the way, the reason why we are using work sets is because we can use the work sets to enable the work sharing in your project. So work sharing is actually a design method that allows multiple team members to work on the same project model at the same time. So for us to be able to make our project work shared environment, so we need to use work sets. So that's the purpose. So let's say you have guys who is working on structural model, then you can create a work set, structural model. Like for example, structural. Okay. This default work set here, you can actually rename this. You can click that and then you can rename. Let's say architectural. Okay. So that's it. So if you have MEP, so let's say you have mechanical, you have piping, you have plumbing, you have lighting, you have power, okay, you have plumbing, you can create those work sets. Okay, so but in this exercise, I'll just focus on my architectural and structural here. Okay, then after you create the work sets that you just need to select here. Okay, take note also of the active work set here. The active work set is architectural. So what will happen is any objects or any elements that you will be creating in your project, it will becomes architectural or it will be under architectural work set. So let's say you create a door. So that door will be under architectural. Let's say you create a mechanical equipment. That mechanical equipment will still be under architectural work set. So regardless of elements, okay, the active work set will be that particular element's work set if you created an element. Okay, so it's just like a current layer in AutoHUD. So any lines or circles that you created, it will be placed under your current layer, right? Okay, so I'll just select here, okay. I'll just select yes, it's okay. Then the next thing that we can do here now is I'm going to select here my 3D view, for example, and then I'm going to select all of these elements. So let's say all of these elements, I want this to be placed under my architectural work sets. So I'm going to select the elements, open my properties. So it's my properties. Okay, so as you can see, my elements here, they are already under the work set. Okay, they are all under the work set architectural. Okay, so if I add another element here, my current work set now is structural. The active work set is structural. Okay, take note that you can also change from here your current or your active work set. So if you want to create architectural elements, make sure you change your active work set to architectural. If you want to create mechanical elements, make sure you create mechanical work set and make that work set active work set. Okay, so that's the importance of that tool. Okay, it's like placing your elements to the proper work set. Okay, so after that, the next thing that we're going to do is we are preparing the central model. So we need to save this central model to the server where our other team members will be able to access the elements from the server. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are now going to save this model as a central model. When you say central model, that is actually the master file of your project, wherein your other team members will be using this central model to create a local copy or local file. Okay, so let's say they created an element to their local file, they can actually synchronize that back to the central file. Okay. Now to create a central file, so after you create your work set up your elements. So you just need to save it. Okay, and then you can see now this one. This is the first time that the project has been saved since work sharing was enabled. So this project will therefore become the central model. So do you want to save this project as a central model? Of course, yes. So I select yes. Okay, and automatically this model will be saved to your server. Make sure it's on the server. You can save as, it's okay. You can select save as, and then you can save to your server. Okay, so this is now my central model. Okay, so this is now my central model. So the next thing that you need to do after you create the central model is um, make sure you relinquish all your elements so that your other team members will be able to use the work sets that you have created. Okay, why? Because if I go to the work sets here, you will notice that you own all of these work sets. So let's say, for example, I am the user. Okay, so I am the one who is working on the architectural. So I will not be able to edit all the elements of the architectural model if I am still the owner, or let's say my manager is still the owner. Okay, my manager is the one that created the central file. So let's say this is the name of my manager. So as you can see, my manager owns this work set. Now, for me to be able to use these work sets, so we need to make sure that our manager relinquish the ownership our of the work set that he created. Okay, so to do that, so let's say I am the manager. So I'll just need to select relinquish all mine. I select this one. There you go. And then if you go back again to the work sets, you will notice the manager is not the owner anymore of this work set. So as a user, I will now be able to use that work sets. Okay. So I'm now going to close this one. So I can go to file and then I'm going to close it. Okay. Now, to start your project, you do not open the central file directly. Okay. Do not click this one because it will open the central file. So what you can do is you can open. This is actually the central file. Just imagine this is your server. Okay, this is the folder that is saved to your server, and then this is the central file. The backup here contains files that you can use just in case your main file, this one, mess up, so you can still recover your previous files by using the backup file. Okay, so if I am now the user, I'm not the manager anymore. So let's say I'm the user. So I'm going to open now the central file that my manager created. So I go to the server, I go to the Worksets folder, I click once the Fire Station, which is the central file, and make sure that create new local here is checked. Okay. Because if you are going to uncheck this, what will happen is you will be opening the central file, which is what we do not want. Okay? It is not recommended to work directly on the central file. So you need to create a local file. Okay? Make sure you do that. You select, because I am just a user, so I select that, and then I make sure that the create new local is selected. Then after that, I select here open. So by doing that, I will be able to create a local file. This is now the local file. Okay. So this is the local file. So let's say I am the architectural model. So I'm going to make sure that architectural workset is the active workset. And then after that, that's the time I can now add some elements. So let's say I create wall, I create, let's say I add wall here. So let's say I add door. So these elements will be under the architectural work set. So after I did some modification on my local file, and I want this local file to be synchronized to the central file, meaning I want my changes to be synchronized to the central file. So all I have to do is go to the collaborate, synchronize with central, and then just select OK. So if there are some options here that is enabled, let's say, for example, you notice that user created worksets are enabled, just check that. By doing that, you are relinquishing the elements. But in my case here, I don't have any options here or any worksets that need to be relinquished. So it's all grayed out. So no need for me to check because it is already relinquished. But in case you notice, let's say the borrowed elements are enabled, so make sure you check that so that it will relinquish the ownership. Okay. So I'll just synchronize that to the central. Okay. So what will happen is your local copy will communicate to the central file and inform the changes on your local file. So your central file will be updated. So these changes will go also to the central file. Okay. So after that, again, you can now close the file, close it. There you go. And then you notice your central file is already updated, right? Okay. So let's say, for example, the next day, you want to continue again your work. Do not use the old local copy and do not click any elements or any icons here. Okay. Make sure you use open, right? So make sure you use open. So let's say you want to create again another, or you want to continue your work. Do not use the old local file. Just create a fresh one. You open again, look for the central file, make sure that create new local is checked, and then you just select open. Just override the old local copy. Click that one. And then you will be creating again a new local fresh file. That's it. So basically, that's how you work on a work shared environment using your work set. Okay. So hopefully you understand basically the how to do it. Okay. So if you have any questions or suggestions, comments, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So for our next exercise under the collaboration module, So we are going to discuss importing drawing and images files in Revit. Okay. So thank you for watching, guys, and have a nice day.